Good evening, everybody. This is Encounters, the late night spiritual UFO talk show. Welcome to the show. I'm CmdrAleon, your host of WESU's Sunday morning NPR Pacifica radio show, Ashtar Command Radio Show, The Cosmic Eye, 11:30 to 1 every Sunday, WESUFM.org. Also host of Encounters, the spiritual UFO TV program here on TikTok, the number one talk show on social media. And tonight, some of the things we're going to talk about is the Malaysian flight MH370. I'm well versed in the Malaysian flight that disappeared in the year 2014. I don't know how old any of you were in 2014, but if you heard stories about it, the Malaysian flight 370 had disappeared after leaving the Malaysian coastline. A short while after getting over the water, it just disappeared. And we're going to get into a little bit of that. I'm going to tell you what happened to that flight. So you're going to hear, and actually, the person that had the original tracking data, which was actually reversed by the radar tracking system, after it happened, within a couple of 48 hours later, 72 hours later, the original tracking, I'm going to show you the tracking that was wiped out of the original icons that were on the tracking data. I'm going to show you that tonight. I want you to know that this is the biggest cover-up ever of Malaysian Flight 370. The week it happened, I'm going to go into, I wish I had kept the original tracking, which showed you the disc-shaped objects on the icon. You know, like you'll see the little air jets, the little icons of jets going this way, that way. Well, on the original flight tracker that was recording what was happening to the Malaysian flight, I'm going to talk about what was really there that's not there anymore. I'll show you the tracking from that period and how they actually redid the tracking. They took out the discs that were on there that took out Malaysian Flight 370. And this is a factual story that the commander is going to share with you tonight. This is how serious it is. Hey, Cat Mama, and everybody out there around the world. You're watching Encounters, the late night UFO talk show. I'm your host, CmdrAleon. Please, we want to get up to 100,000 likes tonight. I want to do 100,000 likes, so I need everybody to participate. This show is all about participation in all different levels. Hey, Linda, good to see you. Everybody out there. And we are amped up about this. We've known about what happened to Malaysian Flight 370 for a lot of years. We knew what exactly happened. Somebody on YouTube who I interviewed on my radio show at the time was the one who broke the story of the radar tracking. And he had the original radar tracking from Malaysian Flight 370, and we talked about it. And then the radar tracking people that track all the air flights doctored the tracking radar information. They took the discs out, and we're going to get into that. So this would make people think, it must have crashed, it must have disappeared, it must have landed on an island at a military base, all these different things that are lies. So many lies have been perpetuated about Malaysian Flight 370. And I'm going to tell you why they never found it, Paul. This is going to be an eye-opener on this show, because I interviewed the person that had the original tracking information from the radar tracker system of all the air flights, and you were able to see what happened. I'm going to show you on my other device here the mapping and the recording of Malaysian Flight 370 going out over the water. The one thing that you're not going to see is what they doctored, is there were 3 disc-shaped golden discs on the radar tracker. And even though you're not going to see them, I know they were there. But I'm going to explain to you at the point of when you see on the tracking radar the Malaysian flight disappear. It didn't crash. It didn't land in the water, I'm going to tell you that it was taken out by a spaceships into another dimension. That's right. Malaysian Flight 370 in the year 2014 was taken out into another dimension. Nobody died. Nobody crashed. They're all still alive. Now, this might be things that some people say, how do you know they're alive and how do you know they didn't crash? Because I interviewed the person who shared the video footage with me of the radar tracker originally, which I don't have anymore. And it showed these 3 jets turning into disc-shaped objects on the tracking radar. Now, a jet does not turn into a disc-shaped object. It just doesn't happen. These things were able to fake the radar out and make them think they were jets. Then one of them, and I'll talk about this, how it goes all the way out, follows MH370, goes past 370 and stops. A jet does not stop in midair over the water. If there's a jet that can stop over midair over the water, I'd be amazed. Okay? So I'm going to tell you the whole story of what went down. You see, the commander knows a few things here. You see. But I will get into what's happening with that. So you're not going to miss it. I am going to do interviews tonight with people too who have had sightings and visitations. But I'm going to get into this first because I've got to do this. I'm going to open up the thing here. We're going to go to YouTube. I got the tracking. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you the radar tracking, and I'm going to let you see exactly. I'm going to take my green screen off of here so you can see this in a little bit. I'm going to show you. I have it all set up. I'm also going to show you the videos that I posted on YouTube, one from a few months ago. And there are people out there trying to discredit the video footage. But the video footage is actually what happened. And this, the so-called debunkers can throw themselves out the window. I'll throw every one of those debunkers out the window. Because what actually happened, you're going to see in the video, after I show you the tracking radar, I'm going to show you how Malaysian Flight 370 disappeared. And again, it didn't crash. It didn't fall out of the sky. It wasn't attacked by anybody. It disappeared, and I'm going to tell you how. It wasn't someone that took the plane. The plane wasn't taken. I'm going to explain to you in a very positive way all the stuff that has been misinformation on the internet about Malaysian Flight 370 on YouTube, on TikTok, or wherever. I don't care what the media is. I interviewed the gentleman, Dabu 007, who was the one in 2014 who was tracking Malaysian Flight 370 on the tracker. It's called the radar tracker. Anybody can get the application and download it. He was tracking it, and he noticed something weird. As Malaysian Flight 370 went over the ocean, or the water there, it was followed by another jet that turned into a disc-shaped object. Then it turned into a jet again and went past Malaysian Flight 370. Then it stopped in mid-water. This is a true story. Then another one that looks like a jet comes out, and it's on the other side of it. Turns into a disc. Then another one, there's 3 of them. Another one shows up. It's a disc. They just flip from looking like little icons of a jet to a disc. Now, that was doctored up after it was shown. Radar tracking people were probably contacted by high-level officials, and they had to doctor the video of the tracking radar. So the tracking radar is still there. The things missing are the 3 things that turn into a disc. Because it never crashed, you see. Malaysian Flight 370 was taken into another galactic dimension. All the people aboard that flight, they're still alive. I don't know where they are. I just know when that happened, that year, that week on the 14th. 14 years ago, whatever, or in 2014, 2014, they actually disappeared. Okay? And they are alive. The people that took them out, they didn't take them out. I should rephrase that. They were chosen by these galactic beings and taken into another dimension. There were very, very intelligent people on that flight. There were people that were scientists and other people on that flight. See, there's a difference between that flight and just any flight. That flight had certain people on it that weren't just your ordinary, everyday people on that flight. Okay? So I'm going to show you in a few minutes is the flight tracking radar, and the other video I posted on my TikTok here. I posted my original video and the newest release that some debunkers are trying to say isn't real, which it is real. When they start attacking it, they're going up the wrong tree on that, because I know exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. So we're going to get into this, and we're going to talk about it right here on the show. Gabriel says, I saw a UFO. It had 40 lights. I was at a survival camp in Oklahoma. Interesting. So we get into this. In terms of the Miami thing, now there's a video coming out of Boston. Somebody, I think they were just joking. I saw a video today on TikTok saying, oh, they're in Boston or they're in Massachusetts. Well, that wasn't true. Somebody just made a video, got on the bandwagon. Now this is what's going on. But in terms of the Malaysian Flight 370, I'm going to put everything into context. By the time I get done putting in the context, you're going to know what I'm saying is true. Okay? So we're going to go off the green screen to show you this first. Then I'm going to show you a I got to get used to this thing here. I'm going to show you this first. We're going to go into the out of the green screen here for a minute, so I can actually show you what I need to show you here. Let me see here. I don't want to do effects. Let me see here. We're going to go out of the green screen. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I want to show you here. Okay, we're going to turn this around. I'm going to have to turn it around here. Watch this. Let's see if I can make it bigger. This is the Flight Trader Radar 24 from 2014. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, show it. So watch the radar. You're going to see Malaysian Flight 370 go out over the water. Okay, watch this. And as you watch it, you'll see Malaysian Flight 370 go over the water. And then you're going to see it disappear. I'm going to explain that what's missing in the flight tracking radar are the 3 discs. Remember, this was modified after that happened. They took the discs out of the original tracking radar. They changed it. Okay? So watch this. You're going to see this is the actual footage on the radar tracker from 2014. The thing missing is going to be the disc-oriented objects on the radar tracker. You're going to see flight MH370 disappear, and I'm going to explain what happened. Okay? And in about a minute or two, or whatever, you're going to see how it disappears. You're not seeing the other things that they doctored out, like a jet that went right by it, stopped in midair and disappeared and turned into a disc. But you're going to see it disappear, and I'm going to explain what happened. Okay, you'll see it disappear in a minute. Where are we on the video here? It's almost there. You'll see it disappear. Just watch. This is the radar tracker from 2014 without the other weird stuff like the UFO discs that were in there. They doctored the video and they took those out. They wiped them out so you wouldn't see them. Let me see if it shows the... Okay. So, let me go back to where I was before here. Hold on a minute. We're going to go back to this here. Oops. Oh, no. Here we go. So, I will take questions on that. I know that that video is one of them. Okay. And if you saw and watched it closely, you'd see that the Flight 370 disappeared. Nobody knows how. If you looked at that, you would say, I don't know how it disappeared, Commander. The original radar tracker, which was doctored to make it look like this, made it look like it just disappeared and crashed somewhere. It actually didn't crash at all. It was actually taken out, and I'm going to show you how it was taken out now. We're going to go to another video, and we're going to go backwards here. If I can do this. In a minute, I'm going to show you another video of the jet being followed by 3 discs. And these 3 discs, which are on the video that I'm going to show you, shows you before it gets taken out in midair that they're following it. They're triangulating around a Malaysian Flight 370, and then it disappears. So we're going to go to that video if I can find it here. Give me a moment. Trying to go in here again. We'll go to YouTube. And we're going to look for the radar tracker, not the radar tracker, but the information regarding that. Okay? So we'll get to that in a minute. I'm just going to, as I get used to this new thing I've got here, we're going to show you footage of Malaysian Flight 360 video. This is the one I want to show you, if I can get one that's showing it going out. So we're going to see if we have, this is the one I want to show. So I'm going to show you this video without this person's commentary. So we're going to do this in just a minute. We'll show you the footage. And you're going to see 2 different things on the footage, which is all real, which some debunkers are trying to say it's not, but it is. And this is exactly how the flight was taken out. So we're going to get into that here. This is Encounters, the UFO talk show here. I'm your host, CmdrAleon. Willie, everybody, welcome to the show. And we're getting into Malaysian Flight 370. It's been since 2014 when the event happened, when a full crew with passengers were taken out, not by some U.S. government jet or some conventional wisdom. They were taken, not even taken out. They were actually taken to somewhere else, beyond Earth, beyond this planet, beyond the planet we live on, okay? And I'm going to show you this. I've got into my TikTok here. I'm going off to my green screen for a minute to show you this so you can see it. Give me a minute. I'm going to show you this as best I can here. Let me see. So we're going off of here. I'm going to show you this right now. Let me get the camera set up here so you can see this. I don't know if I can do this on a big screen. Yeah, I think I can enlarge it. Let me see if I can enlarge this right now so I can show it to you. Here we go. So he's on the big screen right here. I will start from scratch. Watch this. Okay? Maybe this is not it. Wait a minute. I need to get to where this is here, the edited. Let's see here. Here we go. Watch this. If I can show it to you. Wait a minute. Too much other stuff here. Wait a minute. I'm trying to show it to you. This is not the best video. I mean, there's too much stuff going on here. I need to find some original footage. We're going to get out of this. But there is a video that's strictly this. And I'm going to try to find it if I can. We're going to go back to the green screen here. But what I'm trying to show you is the actual footage of the Malaysian Flight 370. And unfortunately, this particular video is not what I want because there's the person that created it edited out the most important things. And so we're going to try to get that set up at some point. But when I do show it to you, you're going to see that this was taken out. This particular craft was taken out. And let's see. Okay, so I can probably show it to you now. Let me see here. I'll show you a little bit of what was going on here. We're going to go back to the green screen, go off the green screen, and we'll see if we can show you this real quick. Watch this. Okay. So what I tried to show you there is when it disappeared, it was taken out by those three objects. Yeah, it zapped out. Okay. I'm going to get some better footage for you, if not tonight, tomorrow night. But the whole thing within 2 to 3 minutes, once it was over the water, these three objects were circling it. They were like doing something to it. Their energy from their ships or their craft were doing something to it. and then poof, it's gone. So all the stuff you've seen for a number of years, documentaries on TV, on Discovery, on whatever, all the aviation people that were on during that year 2014, trying to tell you how it could have crashed somewhere, it landed somewhere, those were all lies. It never crashed anywhere. It never landed on a secret military base anywhere. All the wreckage that the Australian government found was all things that were not even related to Malaysian Flight 370. They never were. I did a whole broadcast when that happened a few days later on my show on WESU. And I said, hey, look, you're being lied to. That thing was never, ever crashing anywhere. And the original radar tracking would have shown you there were 3 disc-shaped objects that switched over in their icons to look like jets. When Malaysian flight went over the water off the coast of Malaysia and disappeared, you would think, looking at the updated radar tracking from 2014, which they doctored, that it disappeared and crashed somewhere in the sea. It didn't crash. I just showed you what actually happened. It was taken out into another dimension. When it went poof, it's gone. It's gone because it was taken to another dimension. And I stated back in 2014, it was taken to a very large spaceship through a galactic portal. And the ship was massive. These 3 objects were from that specific spaceship. And from that specific spaceship, they were taken to some other planetary world. I don't know where they were taken. I even said it in 2014 when I was on the radio. I have no idea where they were taken. They're safe. They weren't taken by any hostile ETs or anything. They were very intelligent people on that flight, that whole crew, all the passengers. For whatever reason, they were selected. You know, people would say to me that year, Commander, you think they're going to come back? You think they're going to come back, Commander? I'm sure someday they will. I don't know when that is. I can't predict anything. But they were taken by friendly beings of light to a much, much higher place through a galactic portal. And I felt sorry for the families then that are grieving, that are still grieving, but they were taken by star people, star beings. And that I said then in 2014, and I'll say it today on TikTok. They are safe. Where they are, I don't know. But they are safe. They're alive and well. And believe it or not, they're actually happy. You know, they're actually happy. Oh, the people. They're happy. That's the thing I sensed after it was happening in 2014 when I talked to Dabu 007 when we interviewed him about it. And later on, when I thought about it, the days after, I said, they've been given an opportunity, and they're being taught so many things that someday they will come back with information to help our planet. You know? Yeah, the pilot had a baby son. He did. I never forget that story or those people. And they will never age. They're in a place now where aging is not the way it is on Earth. They will never age. When they come back, they will look pretty much the way they were before they went there. Yes, Azun, good evening. Yeah, I've studied this. I was involved initially with the original person on YouTube that tracked the radar that showed there were 3 icons that didn't look kind of weird. Now we're showing you the video, and I'll get a better, clearer video for tomorrow night. I'll re-show the video. It's on my Ashtar Command Spaceship News here under CmdrAleon on my profile. You'll see I posted the newest video and the original video showing how it was taken out. If anyone goes up against that video, I will clobber them with cosmic energy. You know, because I've been involved with this study of this thing since 2014. You know, so I know what I'm talking about. They were taken, and I said it on my show for a while. I said it when I was on Facebook. when I did some lives there back at the time. And I told people straight out, don't worry about these people. These people are safe. Star beings took them. Star people, positive beings, took them to a much larger ship at the time, and they were taken to some other planetary world to be able to learn things. And, could you imagine if you're on a flight and that happened to you? And all these beings from another planetary system, star people, said, we took you for a reason. We want you to learn things to bring back to planet Earth. Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to do? And then you look at the bigger picture and say, well, I'm going back to Earth someday. When's that going to be? Whenever that is. It all is in perspective, how you look at it. Some people say, wow, I would never want that to happen to me. Other people say, well, I can't wait to see that happen to me. It's going to be different for everybody, right? No, it's not a space force exchange. It never was. It was never a space force exchange. It wasn't even an exchange. These star people were very independent of anything related to our governments. And they have no connection to our governments. They were taken to a much different dimension than what we live in. I can tell you that now. They're safe, and they were taken into another dimension. I said it in 2014, and I'll say it again with full confidence. You don't see me even altering my words on this. Hear me out. They're safe. They're in good hands, and they're not with anything negative or any mysterious monster-type beings. Throw all the fears and stuff out the window. But when they do come back, whenever that is, it'll be a beautiful thing. It will be a beautiful thing. So you have to start looking at this thing from a different perspective. Hey, tout. And let's get up to 100,000 tonight. It's 11:39. We're going to 1. We're at 15.4. I want to get it up to 100,000 on encounters tonight. Hey, Simon. Hi, Commander. Was someone taken recently? Not that I'm tuned into. I'm not tuned into something recently, but I'm talking about... There could be people that are being taken to other planets quietly on an individual basis. That could be. But this particular event kind of shook things up. The Australians are trying to find it and say it was a crashed airliner, and they couldn't. Every time they found some wreckage in the water, it was not even the wreckage from the MH370, because there wasn't any wreckage. I'd sit there, in a sense, laughing at these people and the Australian government trying to do this. And then all of a sudden, all this cover-up stuff going on, all the cover-ups about what happened to the Malaysian Flight 370 were going on. They've been going on for years. There are people that try to keep it covered up. Could you imagine if the authorities went public and said, oh, by the way, we know the truth that they were taken by some extraterrestrial energy forces, and that's why it disappeared. Could you imagine going on national TV and telling people the truth of what actually happened? Could you imagine? Imagine. You see, I know for some people this is going to be hard to hear, but it's got to be told, you see, the truth of what happened. And then, like I said, you'll have debunkers that are going to go all over these videos, and they're going to have all these people on YouTube already are doing it with their own opinions and takes. Who cares about their opinions? The video speaks for itself. Forget the opinions. The video speaks for itself, doesn't it? You saw, those that watched the video, I'm going to show it again tomorrow night. You saw that there were 3 objects, and they were going in some circular energy motion, and then a portal opened up and poof, it was gone. That's all you got to know. Forget everyone's opinions, agendas. As I always say, whenever I hear people's agendas and opinions, they're interjecting things that are not related to the truth. If you see a bird fly in the sky, it flies in the sky. If you see an eagle land on a tree, it lands on a tree. If you see a whale jumping up in the ocean, and you videotape it, it's a whale jumping up out of the ocean. If you see three objects taking an airline flight with a full passenger load into another dimension, that's what your eyes see. Your eyes tell you the truth. All I'm doing is narrating what exactly happened, right? That's what I'm doing. So for those of you who are too young and maybe you weren't around in 2014, I'm giving you some information here. And for those that were, I'm giving you information here. Okay? Make notes. Understand. Realize. I've said it before, I've said it again. All the governments in the world that know about the extraterrestrial area that are keeping it top secret know about this as well. I tell people, in order to bust the matrix, you have to stop believing everything that is put out there as disinformation, no matter what the social media application is. I'm always going to tell you that, because there's going to be things that are the wow factors coming out there saying, nope, this is what happened. No, this is what, no, it didn't happen this way. It happened this way. And all these people are going to argue about what happened. All right? You were 21 in 2014. Christopher says, oh, interesting. You were 12 in 2014. Okay, now you're 21. So you're old enough at 12 to know. You see, times are shifting. You know, we're in a major, wow, it's really, we're in New England here. We're getting bombarded by heavy wind tonight. So the wind is blowing. I'm glad I'm indoors. But the times are really shifting now. Yeah, all these different things. What happened to the Malaysian Flight 370 goes down in cosmic history. I think it was, if you think of that, look at the Bermuda Triangle and think about how many disappearances of things that happened there. Now, some of it could be weather related, but not all of it's weather related. There are people in the disinformation campaign, even with the Bermuda Triangle, that will try to tell you that certain events that took place when certain Air Force pilots back in the day with those propelled airplanes, Air Force airplanes, disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. One of them said, oh, I see what looks like a weird landmass. It's like a purple. Everything looks kind of purple. What was going on is they went into another dimension. Remember the disappearance of the 4 Air Force pilots in the Bermuda Triangle? You know the story about that? You know, there have been, now that was on a smaller scale, okay? But this 2014 Malaysian flight in 2014 was taken, and the video footage tells you and shows you how they were taken into another dimension, how they were taken, you know, beyond this particular realm, okay? And again, we're at 17.4. I want to get up to 100,000. We're at 11:45. We're going to 1 p.m., 1 a.m. Let's amp it up, folks. Let's get those things tapping. A few people tapping isn't going to do it, but everybody tapping is going to make it happen. So I'm about activation, motivation, activation. Let's do it. And we will definitely do some interviews with people at some point. I want to hear some new stories tonight. How do you tell them? The only way you can tell them is to let them know that they're in safe hands. If you know some of those people, let them know that they are alive and well. They didn't crash. The jet didn't crash anywhere. It wasn't on a special military base on an island somewhere out there. They were taken into another dimensional frequency. You know how we talk about vibrations on my show here? About things are vibrations, our patterns of our body are vibrations. On a bigger scale, on a much bigger scale, when that jet went into went in through the portal, the galactic portal, it went into another vibrational frequency way higher than the frequency it was in before it disappeared. And it also affected the consciousness of every single person aboard that jet, that commercial airliner. It did. Oh yes, Susan. They are absolutely alive. I'll say that with full confidence. They haven't passed. They're alive. They're well. They're being treated well by these space people. And these space people, they were chosen. This particular group of people were chosen, you know. And I can tell you my energy, ever since 2014, I felt that they were safe. I don't always think about it all the time, but when I do, I realize how safe they are. These people are alive and well. So yes, they are safe. So they are not allowed to come back. It's not that they're not allowed to come back. It's not time for them to come back. I believe that they will come back at some point. That's the only thing I'm not tuned into. I tune into a lot of things off planet, but I that's the one thing I am not tuned into. I think they're allowed to come back. I just don't know when. I'm tuned into a lot of things, but I don't know everything. It will take me time to figure that one out. A plane came back. Nope. Flight 370, MH370 never came back. It's still out of this particular realm, this frequency, so to speak, or this particular galactic energy that we live in. Lacey says, I think it has to do with their bloodline and belief. It could be. It's more, you're almost there. The people on board that flight were very, very much centered in their energy, believe it or not. They were very much confident in who they were, and they were just the right people to be given this opportunity to be taken to another place in a much higher frequency. And they were. As I got my apple cider going here, have not run out of that. I saw a UFO make a plane disappear. Yeah, so the UFOs, Mark, the space people and their spaceships can take a plane into another frequency or another dimension. Just as MH370 was taken, and as you saw the video, and I'm going to show it again, if not tonight, tomorrow night, I'm going to get a better clipping to show everybody. I have both videos on my main page where my videos are here on TikTok. So take the time to watch them, and you'll see what the earlier video and the later video that shows exactly it being triangulated by 3 ships. Hey, Mahansuk, there were 3 ships that were actually over the water off the Malaysian coast as the radar tracker was tracking it. I had the original radar tracker, the 24-hour tracker from the application, and the Abu 007 was tracking it when it happened. He's tuned into a lot of stuff. He's on YouTube. He had the original tracker showing that the Malaysian Flight 370 goes over the water near the East China Sea. A jet icon goes past Malaysian Flight 370, and the jet icon just stops. I mean, it's going fast on this radar tracker, and the icon stops in the middle of nothing over the water. 2 other icons flip back and forth between it looking like a golden disc and a jet icon. When they get to the point in the middle of the tracking over the East China Sea, the one that looks like a plane or a jet turns into a disc. The other ones turn into a disc. And in the video that I showed you just briefly, what happens is at that point in the air, it is taken out into another dimension. It just disappears off the tracking radar. What you're not seeing in the radar is the original radar footage that shows you the disc icons that I'm talking about. They doctored it. They modified they kept the same video tracking, but they took out the disc on the tracking radar to cover it up. So that people all over the world would think, oh, it crashed somewhere. They doctored the whole thing. I had the original footage, and then 24 to 48 hours later, they show the same footage of the jet going over the East China Sea without anything else out there in the water, and then it disappears. But you don't see the other icons because they took them out. They probably had high officials tell them, take that out. We can't have that on there because people are going to start thinking UFOs took them out, took them somewhere. Okay? The truth is, they were taken by star people, by people that are positive. They weren't kidnapped. They weren't anything. So throw all these things out. Anything you're thinking, throw it out the window. Just throw it out the window. No, why would it be so bad to coexist with star people? No, actually, it's good to coexist with star people. The star people are our brothers and sisters of light, the star people. So it's a good thing. If there's anyone out there who thinks it's a bad thing, probably people that are uneducated about star people. Star people are beautiful people. Okay? They really are. Star seeds, star people, star beings, however you want to put it in semantics, it's all connected to the same thing, right? And that's where they're retaken. Okay? I've never seen one. Well, you'll sometime, Draco, you'll eventually see one. Star beings, star people. Are you a star being? Yes. I come from Mars. I came out of the closet probably when I was a kid. I told the story before. Went kind of underground in my understanding of who I was. And as I became an adult, I came out of the closet on my radio show over 20 years ago. And I know everything about Mars. So the Mars in our specific solar system has 10 to 15 million people living on Mars. Mars is a very breathable, livable planet. I can tell anybody anything they want to know about Mars. So yes, I'm a star being. I'm human. I'm a star being. But I have many cosmic chapters to my story. There's a lot of things I can tell you. Flower power. So the plane was taken to another frequency, another dimensional existence. These were highly intelligent people. Some of them were scientists, some of them weren't. But this particular group of passengers was just like the right people. Like when you're trying to get the right adjustment in your lens and you're saying, my lens is out of focus. I just got to get it a little bit more centered and I can see better. Well, look at that analogy as looking at these people that were the people on the flight with the crew. Every one of these people, from the pilot to the passengers, they were all taken for a reason, and taken in a positive word, definition taken. They weren't forced anywhere. They were, at the point they were actually given this opportunity and being there, I'm sure they were like wondering what's going on here, where are we? But they are extremely happy people. Human beings, on the other hand, will say, well, maybe they're not happy where they are. Maybe they feel stuck. No, they're not stuck. They're not unhappy. I know of how people's consciousness on this planet thinks. I know how humans think. That's the first thing that goes on in their heads. Well, maybe not. No, they're doing fine. They're alive and well. They're happy. They're in a very, very beautiful place with star people. Star people, for people that don't understand what they are, star beings are your space brothers and sisters from other planetary worlds. Okay? Yeah, Susan, that's a great point, Suzanne. Maybe they don't have the same time essence we do. Where they were taken, there is no time. You see, on this side of it, we have time all the time. We have 24 hours of time. Everything runs in time. Where the Malaysian flight was taken, there is no time. They operate in space. So when they go into space, they don't think about time, about days, about nights. It's all different. The whole thing is different. Okay? Totally different. Susan Mary, thank you for the roses. We appreciate your gifts. So I had to talk about it tonight. I posted the videos here for people to learn some stuff. No, I haven't seen the jellyfish video. I'll have to take a look at that. But I can tell you that beautiful things, thank you, My Twisted, for the 2024, that beautiful things are happening, for them, for the future of our planet. There's a lot of things going on now. There's going to be a lot of crazy things being created by people on everything. And you're going to have to discern what is real and what's not real. Hey, Emma, good to see you. Susan Mary, thank you for the fireworks. Friends with fairies, thank you for the roses too. I appreciate it. I love all of you folks out there. All the new people, I love you. All the regular folks on my show, I love you. I love everybody. That's what it's all about on my show. I want to give you cosmic information and truth on this UFO show, and that's what I do. That's what I do. I'm totally invested in what I'm doing here. Christopher, well, the how does the Earth shift work? It's been going on for as long as we've been around as human beings. It's accelerating the shift. The shift is a shift of spiritual awakening, of Earth changes. So if you see things happening like volcanoes and all kinds of crazy things happening, understand you can look at it in two different ways. The Earth is falling apart, or the Earth is now becoming a higher vibrational planetary system. And all these Earth changes are good things. There are these people, the doom and gloomers, that will get on and say, well, in 5 to 7 years, the planet's going to be totally distinct of anything as you know it. And then you have the people that are not the doom and gloomers, people that have a knowledge of the stars and of cosmic realities that'll tell you, no, they got it wrong. The Earth is not falling apart. The Earth is changing. We're changing. We're elevating. We're changing. We're becoming better people. Believe it or not, we're going to be totally different human beings than we are now. Totally different. We're going to be not only different, we're going to be better than we are now. And when I say better, that's without the ego. We're going to be cosmically enlightened. Wow. We're going to be it's really windy out there. Cosmically enlightened to a higher state of being. It's really windy in New England tonight. So I'm hearing wind and things happening. But you don't hear that, I don't think. But look at the future of this planet. The future of contact. The future of interaction. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it at all. Get rid of your fears of everything. Throw your fears out the window. Tell yourself, when you see yourself fearing something and fearing cosmic reality changes that are happening that you have no control over, don't fear it, embrace it. The one thing the mind has is the ability to create fear in human beings. And that is your worst enemy, is your fear. If you get rid of your fear, once there is contact on a massive scale on this planet, there's nothing for you to fear. Embrace it. Understand it. Get ready for it. Communicate. Motivate. Work on yourself on a cosmic level. Meditate on a cosmic level. Not just meditate to feel at peace. Meditate to get prepared. To get prepared for things that are going to come. Because they're coming. You might as well be ready for it. Might as well. Hey, Maria, good to see you. Christopher says, I see future people are happy, make new things. Lacey, yeah, humans, there are billions of humans, Lacey, you're right. There are humans that are confused because there's so much garbage on TV that's going to confuse a lot of people. And we welcome all the new people coming in here. We appreciate you. Coco, LA2SD, thank you for the roses. So we're on a roll here. Yeah, folklore, paranormal. A lot of billions of people are brainwashed by all the garbage on TV, and there's so much of it. It's always the same news cycle. You never hear them talking about the space people on NBC News or CBS. I'm sure they have stories that they just suppress regarding the things we're talking about in the news every day. They just don't want to show it. You know, it's all positivity. That's absolutely true, Grace. You know, so we know better. And those that find my show here, you found a good place to be on regular nights. I'm here most nights at 11 o'clock with this show. I'm very disciplined. This is the only show I do on here. I'm not on here for 5 hours, nor would I want to be on here for 5 hours. I don't think I can handle it, nor would I want to. So when I come on here, I know exactly what I'm doing. You know? Thank you, Lacey. And if you have any questions about what I'm talking about Malaysian Flight 370, I'll put you on here and you can ask me questions. I have answers. You know, I'm happy to get new people on here that want to ask some questions, share a story about your own encounters. Oh, it's raining up here. It's windy and raining. Grace also is in Connecticut on the coastline, and it's doing its thing tonight here in New England. You know? So I want to entertain some stuff in a few minutes. Friday night, we're going to do a contact night with Godico. I haven't created the video yet, but I am going to create it either tonight or tomorrow. And we'll do a Friday night program with Godico. Godico, for those that are new to the program, is my contact from the star system Sirius. Oh, Alex, you will. You know, things happen in time. Well, on Earth, they happen in time. They'll happen, Alex, for you. I know the stories, so I know you will have it happen. Just, just relax. It'll be there. It'll happen. It'll happen when you least expect it, Alex. That's the thing. We don't control the timing of that whole thing anyway. So we're going to do some interviews and hear people's stories. Please tap, tap, tap. We're at 33.3. We want to get up to 100,000 by 1 o'clock in the morning. In terms of Skinwalker, I tell people don't go there. It's a mixed energy there. It's not the kind of vibrational frequency patterns. There's all kinds of weird stuff happening there. So I tell people stay away from that whole regional area. It's not good energy. You heard from Shai? Not recently. Shai is sort of not coming on live right now because she's in a higher state of security in her security cosmic secret level. I'd love to have her come back on, and the doors are always open to Shai. When she's ready to come back, hopefully she will. Christopher says, space beings are sad with Earth, see people do bad things, hope they fix it, space beings. So the space beings, Christopher, they know what we've done to our planet, and it's up to us to fix it, you see. One of the things in my contactee experiences with the space people is they want us to fix our problems. We have to be accountable to our planet Earth and the things we've done to it. Wise Girl says, in 2 discs, I think they were attracted to the lights in the hot tub. Interesting. The Wise Girl only has 106 followers. We're going to follow Wise Girl. Everybody do that. If we can get her up to 200, Wise Girl, you can come on here and tell your story on the program. So we'll take, I'm going to see who wants to come on here. I'd like to get some new guests on here to share your stories on encounters. I'm CmdrAleon. So let's get Wise Girl up to 200. I like to get people elevated up. If I see they're 100 away from being able to go live, we want to get people on to be able to do that. Yeah, American Proud, yeah. The Zeta are what you're calling the grays. Those are called Zeta. So there's really not really a thing called grays, but there's Zeta beings of different levels. For the most part, depending who the Zeta are, you want to stay in a frequency of Christ consciousness. So if you're in a Christ conscious frequency and you learn how to be in that frequency, the beings that you'll be elevated to are more humanoid like us, very elevated in frequency and consciousness. So yeah. In terms of how many space beings are in the galaxy, there are many space beings in the galaxy. There are many galactic civilizations of many, many star people from other planetary worlds. Many of them look like us, about 95% out there look like us. The other 5% are variations in a human form, but look different. Totally different. Marlene, I have no idea what TikTok's doing to you. I have no idea. If I knew that, I'd be able to tell you. You have 13.2. I'm not sure why. Like 3 weeks. That's interesting. I'm not sure. Not really sure about that. But I can tell you, folks, is, again, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And people need to get ready. People need to be prepared for what's coming down. This year, 2025, 26, 27, these next years, these next 4 years are going to be incredibly busy in the skies above us. Yeah, people, Coco, need to pay attention. Next 4 years, you're gonna have things happen here that you've never ever experienced in your life. You're gonna look back, and it is the time of awakening, Cat Mama. It's very true. This is the year of awakening, 2024. What does that mean? That means you better get awake. That's what that means. You better start working on yourself. Get awake. If you think you're awake now, you need to be more awake. If you're not awake yet, you need to start waking up. You see, there's different levels, right? Some people are awake to the fact that UFOs exist, that ETs exist. Some people are just starting to get into the subject because everything's going out there as being hoopla in the media. But you really need to learn a lot about who you are. And as you do that, you will learn how to facilitate the ability, once you figure out what your star family is, if you know who your star family is, how to facilitate telepathic communications with them while you live on this planet. And says, I changed my photo, Commander. I see that. Very good. Have you ever encountered a ghost or a spirit? Not really, in the sense of what you're asking me, no. Maybe here, but not really. I'm not really tuned into that frequency. And that's a little bit of a different frequency anyway. Folklore Paranormal says I have. My uncle was called in to guard a UFO crash site on a golf course when he was in the military. Let's get Suzanne. Suzanne, interesting. I'm going to follow you. And I want you to come on live, Suzanne, as my first guest. That is an interesting story. Let's hear that story. My uncle was called in to guard a UFO crash site on a golf course when he was in the military. Can we get Suzanne to come on and share that story? All you got to do, Suzanne, is accept my request on Encounters, and I'm sure everybody watching this is going to hear that story. I think it's working. It is working.
Hi.
Hey, how are you, Suzanne? That's a great... I was looking at your comments. I'm really interested in that. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm not really sure exactly all of the details to it. I just remember my grandparents and my mom, all of my family always talking about it. He wasn't allowed to say what it was, but we lived on the golf course whenever I was a little kid. This was like before I even started school. And my parents and my grandfather all said that it was a UFO crash and that they knew it was close to us. And then it just so happened that my uncle, which was my grandfather's son, was called out there to guard something. He didn't know what it was, but he was guarding the crash site. They just got,
Hmm.
but it was so strange because why would the military be called out to a golf course in the middle of the night?
Isn't that kind of weird? Well, they called them out there to do nighttime golfing.
Yeah, exactly. Like the
Hey,
whole
let's go out
town was
there.
talking about it. It was like either Pensacola or Jacksonville. I don't remember
Really?
exactly where we lived at that time. So it would have been probably in the early 80s when this
Hmm.
happened.
Interesting. Early 80s. And did he? So that sounds to me like they were out, make something either landed or crashed there, and
Hmm.
they obviously were called out to guard the area, prevent any public people from getting close to the golf course. Could you imagine if they weren't there? If people came there and they saw a spaceship,
Oh, yeah.
that might have that would have caused a lot. That would have been, that would have been great in terms of that. But then the military were told to go out there, probably to make sure nobody got out there.
Yes. They weren't allowed to go in themselves, but they were guarding whatever was going on there. And they had these
Mm,
big trucks that were taking things out of there. They would come in empty, but
really,
were leaving with things. So that's what made
really.
it even more suspicious. And I feel so bad because my grandfather, he wanted to know so bad and he never, like, he passed away before he ever got the truth.
Hmm. Yeah, that is too bad.
Yeah.
This and when they were taking things out of there, it reminds me of the Roswell stories of the crash in Roswell where they were taking parts of the spaceship out and cleaning the area up so no one would find any metallic objects or anything from the crash. I'm sure this happened at that golf course, where they were taking things out
Oh,
to prevent
yeah.
people from finding anything. They do a pretty thorough job of cleaning crashed UFO sites up when they want to. The government comes in there, make sure you clean it all out here so nobody sees anything, and make sure the golf course looks nice the next day because people have to golf. I'm sure they did all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. My mom said it was closed for a little while, but not long. Like she said, whenever afterwards, you never knew that anything happened there. You couldn't even tell
Yeah.
where they had it fenced up that quick. Like they threw a fence up and had it like tarped off, or it was a fence with a tarp on it or something. Like you couldn't
Mhm.
see anything going on. It's crazy. I wish my mom's mind was still here so I could
Hmm.
talk. She might remember things about it. Her
She
because
might.
she has Alzheimer's, so but she
Yeah.
remembers the past very well, just not the current.
Not the current. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. These are the things that this is stuff that makes this important on our show. Stories like you're telling. These are the stories that, to me, are the most important stories from the people out there like yourself sharing them from somebody who was in the military. And you wouldn't hear this on the regular Good Morning America. Tell us your story about your person that was in the military and the golf course at night. You wouldn't hear that there, but you'll hear it on Encounters. That's why I say we are the disclosure show, because we have people, by sharing that. How many people knew about that Pensacola thing? I knew nothing about it until Suzanne actually expressed it. I don't think anybody did. So
It
that's
kind of
new
makes me
information.
like I didn't even think about it until I started watching your show and I'm like, I wonder, is there some kind of, evidence to that? Is there like some kind of paper that we can look into to see what kind of documentation they had for that? They were
Well,
supposedly coming clean.
you can go through the Freedom of Information Act under that area. I bet you should do that. Actually, I think that's a little bit of a homework assignment for you,
Yeah.
Suzanne. Go to the Freedom of Information Act and put a request in to any documents regarding that specific date and time period over Pensacola and see what comes out of it. You
Yeah,
could
for
do that.
sure.
I'd be
I'm
interested to
gonna
see what
see.
happens.
I'm gonna have to ask my cousin if it was for sure Pensacola or was it Jacksonville. I just know we
Find
lived on
out.
a golf course, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
one of the two places, so I mean it wouldn't be that hard to figure out.
See, I'm a cosmic troublemaker on this show. I incite cosmic trouble, but that's a good thing because we're going to bust the matrix, all of us together, and we will get that information. Suzanne will get it from her
Yes, for
cousin
sure.
and the Freedom of Information Act. when you go through that, they have to give you the information. Well, they don't have to, but I'd be intrigued to see what you get out of it. That would be very amazing.
That would be awesome. I
Wouldn't it
didn't
be
even
awesome?
think
Yeah, I
about it. I
think.
don't even know why I've never thought about it until tonight, literally watching the show. And I'm like, wait, my Uncle Jimmy was in the military. And it was like, we didn't know, he didn't know that, or he knew my mom lived there, but he
Yeah,
didn't know that we knew anything about it or they knew anything about it. I was a little kid. But
yeah,
and my grandfather didn't know until he was done with the whole project, and he was saying he didn't know what he was there guarding, but it
right.
was very strange to him, and he said that vehicles will come in empty and leave full, and it
Yeah,
was very, very strange to him, but he wasn't
it's the
allowed to ask
same.
questions or anything, and he was
Yeah,
a
no,
Marine, so I don't know
yeah.
exactly like what that entails or what the difference is or whatever. But
I
none
don't.
of them were allowed to go in. They were just there to guard.
They had a guard. I'm sure
Yep.
if they went in, they'd probably have problems.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
He even said they wouldn't even allow them to go in to use the bathroom.
that's crazy. Well, someone's asking me, Ray True Colors. I quietly telepathically communicate with Godico. That's a space being. I don't know if you've heard me communicate with space being on here, but we have facilitated contact over a month ago from my house here. They came through an Alexa app. So yeah, it's
What? That's
yeah, oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you actually get a chance to look on my main page. I have two clips of Godico. It's a 2-minute clip, and you can hear him speaking through a translator in English.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Yeah, that's so cool.
yeah, we have radio contact, folks, for new
Yes,
people.
folklore. Early
I,
80s.
ha- I Yeah, I've had contact with a space being. People have been asking me. I have direct contact with a space being, not channeled, not interjected fake audio. An actual space being called Godico from the star system Sirius, and they have a big spaceship that is somewhere over our planet right now. I just don't know where it is right at the moment.
I think folklore's looking it up. I hope you find something. That'd be so
I hope so
awesome.
too. Yeah, folklore, definitely do that. That Freedom of Information Act thing is really good. It puts pressure on the Department of Defense or whoever, the military sector that went into that Pensacola area. It would be something where I can imagine you getting new information that could be shared. That would be very interesting.
That
They
would
would
be
have to
so,
release it.
so cool. It
You
would have
know.
been between, I'm going to say between 80, probably 81, 82, maybe even 83. But by 84, that would have made me 5. So we would have moved back to Mobile at that time. So
Mobile, yeah.
yeah, it's definitely going to be the early, early 80s.
Interesting, interesting.
And it's so
Was
crazy
it?
because I remember living there, but I don't really
Yeah,
remember. I just remember, like, I can picture it, but that's it. I don't remember actually being there or have any memories from outside of
yeah,
remembering what it looked like. But I remember the story. I mean, they told it every single family get together. They always talked about it.
yeah. Do you remember the name of the Julie Z is saying? Do you remember the name of the golf course?
I don't, but I
That's
could ask my mom tomorrow and see if she
Yeah, yeah.
does.
Ask her. She does. When you file the Freedom of Information report about that event in the 1980s, um, and you find out what golf course it is, that's going to be a key thing because with the
Yeah.
golf course information, you'll be able to find out where they were when that UFO crashed in Pensacola in that area in the golf course, whichever golf course it was.
Yeah. And I
You
wouldn't
know.
think that would be like, I don't think that they would just do away with the golf course. It's probably still there. They
Oh yeah,
just
I
put
would
it
think it's still
better.
there.
Yeah.
And let's see here. People that want to join live, please tell me what you want to talk about. So I'm starting this new thing, so I make sure that people just that want to come up, you tell me what you want to talk about. And I see with Susan, I know what she was talking about because I read her sentence. So if you're going to be wanting to be a guest, my new rule is tell me what you wish to talk about, and we will have you on here. Susan, stay with us. We're not taking you off here. We're going to bring. I'm going to see follower. Open your eyes. The blue support. Support is Solomon. 122 wants to come on and join us. And let me see. says UFOs. We'll take this is CmdrAleon, your host of the show. I'm on NPR Pacifica Radio Sunday mornings. So listen to my Sunday morning show on NPR Radio. Solomon 122388, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Hey.
Well, I'm here in New Jersey. I'm 21 years old. And I just want to come here because I saw you encounters UFO contact.
Oh, welcome. Yeah, welcome to our show. I'm glad you found it. Yeah, I'm big on radio, and I started doing this about less than a year ago, probably late last year. I was told to get on here on TikTok, and I took my radio format and decided to have the top UFO show on TikTok, on social media in general.
Oh, do you believe in UFO?
Oh, I've been a contactee since I was a kid. I not only believe in them, I've seen them. I've made contact with positive beings since I was a kid. I've had sightings of spaceships about 2 football fields in length. I have a lot of knowledge. I know a lot of things.
Oh,
That's why I'm able to do this show.
okay. Well, I believe in UFO. I believe in aliens. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe.
Have you ever had anything? Have you ever seen anything unusual where you live?
Yeah.
You have.
Oh, nighttime.
Tell us about it. Nighttime. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So it was like 8 in the night, and me and my auntie we were just walking, going to the supermarket, like 2 blocks away from the supermarket. There were like lights lighting up in the skies in nighttime, and they were not looking like planes,
Yeah.
They were like lining, and then out of nowhere they just disappear. Two. There were 2. But they were not looking like stars though.
Right. They were moving. Were they moving pretty quickly, would you say, or before they disappeared, like did they just blink out?
Yeah, like they were in let's say standing, and then they go to another area, but we didn't see where it goes.
Yeah. So they were going quicker than any conventional craft that we would have on Earth.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. Well, then you were dealing with something that was an extraterrestrial spaceship, and probably the beings inside that particular craft, or we call a UFO spaceship. You were actually, I always tell people, when you see something with someone that's very unusual, you're meant to see it. They want you to see it, and then they take off. They're just basically saying, well, we're getting a lot of wind here in Connecticut. It's really wicked wind out here. They want you to see it. Oh, what's going on here?
Oh.
I just heard a weird thing going on my headphones, but I can still hear everybody. Wow, the wind is picking up.
You in Florida?
No, we're in Connecticut. We're getting a really bad windstorm and rain tonight.
Here too in New Jersey it's raining a lot.
Yeah, we're getting it pretty bad. It's really wicked, but hopefully it'll go away now. And I have contact with a space being. I heard this weird stuff happening in my earphones, but I think it's just the power on the headphones need to be recharged pretty soon. Yeah, people can hear the wind. Yeah, it's just pretty wicked up here. But yeah, in terms of when you see something like that, it just means that you're supposed to see it. You're meant to see it, and you can learn from my show many things about C5, how to learn how to have peaceful contact with space people. I teach people a lot of stuff on this show beyond interviewing people. I do workshops. I know a lot of things.
Well, when
are you still there?
All these. Huh?
Oh, my headphones are. Let me bring my volume up here. Oh, that's what it was. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my headphones need to be charged up. Let me put them in their thing here. That's why it was. Yeah, I'm out of the charge that I had before. It takes 15 minutes to charge these guys up, and they shall be recharged. So those are down there. Now I'm going to just go without the headphones and bring the volume up. So yeah. And now I can hear everybody still through the microphone here.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I saw this, and I thought, wait, I was thinking of UFO and all this stuff, aliens, when I saw that. But I got a strong, very strong belief that, well, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that there's gonna
Well,
be
you know that Christ, we call him the cosmic Christ. So Christ is really a star being from beyond the earth. On earth-based religions, they have twisted what Christ is. A lot of us here who are from other planets or star people believe in Christ too, but we believe in Christ and understand Christ as being a very spiritual, light-filled being of light that came to earth to educate the people on this planet, called Christ consciousness, and so yeah, I'm with you there, brother. And but in a very non-religious way, we try to tell people that Christ's energy has been distorted on the planet Earth by religion, and that Christ came here to help people as a star being, and then he went back up on a spaceship. When he went into the clouds, he was taken on a mothership back off planet. So we have a
mm,
whole different interpretation of the history of the Christ and the Christ consciousness.
yeah. Uh, do you know about the rapture?
Yeah, I actually decoded what the rapture is. I've never talked about it here, but the rapture is when we come to a point in time on the planet Earth where everybody will be lifted up into a different frequency simultaneously. So in Earth-based religions, they have a different interpretation of what the word rapture means. From off planet, the word cosmically, the word rapture in a cosmic sense means the lifting off of all life forms to a higher frequency. And that's
Mm.
what the rapture really is in a
Oh,
cosmic definition.
well, I have a strong, very strong belief that the rapture, okay, that's at some point Jesus is gonna come in the clouds, and all the believers gonna disappear. God's gonna take them to heaven. And then I got another strong belief that after the believers of Jesus Christ disappear out of the world, the demons, the falling angels, you can call them aliens or something, they're going to start coming down here. And a lot of people will believe that those falling angels or aliens take all those people. And then the government is going to come to put fear on the people that if we don't come together as one, if we don't unite as one nation globally, they will take all of us to over there.
Yeah, so I wanna, in a good way, push back on that belief system. None of that is going to happen. What's going to happen is that there's different multiple realities of planet Earth. There's a planet Earth that is totally not going where we're going. This Earth you're living on, standing on right now, breathing on, is going into a much higher frequency. The whole planet will be elevated. There's not going to be this story. I've heard it before. I'm not unused to what you're saying. I've been here for a long time on the planet, so I've read, I've heard everything. But I can tell you as a young person that what's going to happen is everyone is going to be uplifted into a new earth, a new frequency. There's not going to be any one person left behind, and it has nothing to do with religion. When we talk about heaven, the definition from a cosmic standpoint, if you want to decode what heaven really is, it's it's peace on planetary systems that live in a peaceful way. So if you look at Earth not being like a heavenly planet, it will be once we elevate to that higher frequency. Thank you, Pete Star. So I've actually taken every single religious belief system and broken it down into pieces of organic material to the point where people understand that everything has to do with uplifting your frequency of consciousness. No matter where you came from, we're all born with families. Some of them have very strong religious beliefs, some of them don't. But that's almost immaterial. What's really important in what I teach on this show is people are having encounters with space people. I've had numerous people on here share their stories with space people, plasma beings, beings that are light beings that are 7 to 8 feet tall. I've had people on here with all kinds of stories. And it's beautiful because if you go out of the religious belief systems that we're brought up with our parents and whatever they believe, we have to break out of that 3D religious world to understand that there's something more beautiful for everyone. It's not one group versus another group. It's a choice a person makes. So if you choose to be a wonderful, beautiful human being on Earth, you will be that person. If you choose to be the opposite, under free will, you're going to be that person. If you're going to choose to use nuclear weapons to blow up a country because you don't like them, you're going to be that person. If you're going to choose not to blow up a country with nuclear bombs and you want peace, you're going to be that person. You see what I mean? It's all a matter of choice. We have a choice as people, but we have nothing to fear. Fear is the only thing with fear, I talked about earlier, is when people in their consciousness have fear take over, it dilutes your ability to understand the greater meaning of why you're here. When we do not live in fear and we live in positive understanding of everything around us, it lets us elevate ourselves to another frequency of understanding. We're always learning. We never stop. On this planet, it's a place where we've learned and we are learning. Our kids are learning. Adults are learning. People are learning. All things are learning. And as we elevate to that higher state, we will never stop learning. When we elevate and accelerate to the next earth or the new earth, where we go there, and that includes you, Solomon, when we get there, it's not going to be about what your religious beliefs are, whether you think there are these ones or that one. That's all based on religious belief systems. That's all stuff projected in consciousness by 3D religion. When you throw that out the window, you're going to see that things are way different than what you were taught to believe. And so I'm glad you're here, because a lot of people here have a very strong belief in what we call Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is when you are thinking and operating in a frequency that is on a different level than basically human consciousness. Human consciousness is a 3D consciousness. It operates on the belief system of acceleration, ego, I'm better than you, you're better than me, go, work in Wall Street, whatever it is you're doing, that's what 3D consciousness is. Cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, is about the elevation of frequency where you're connecting with your star family, your space brothers, your space sisters. And Solomon, you have a star family too. You just haven't reached it yet. Suzanne, you were going to say something? Suzanne? People still hearing me? Am I
Yeah, I
talking?
hear you.
Oh, good. Sometimes you never know. But, I'm glad you're here, man. It's just, I hope you'll stick around and, be with us here, because we have a good group of people here, and you're more than welcome to be here. It's you were drawn here by your higher spirit, by your higher self. We have what we call the higher self. The higher self brought you here. So if you listen to your higher self, you will learn a lot of things. Don't always listen to your mind, because your mind can mess things up. Your higher self, it'll never mess things up, because it's the truest connection to what's going on.
Uh, do you believe you have a soul?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think everybody does. But the soul is something that we are given, as the creator gives everybody a soul. Every planetary system, every being in other planets, they all have souls. Every one of them. Everybody
Mm.
does. They all do. It's a
Uh,
beautiful thing.
yeah, I believe that you have a soul, you have a body, and you have a spirit.
Yeah. And your spirit is actually, in some cases, Earth people call it the spirit. Some people call it the light body. Cosmic people on here on my show will say, "Oh, Solomon, I have a light body." What they were saying is the same thing as you're saying, a spirit. The light body is the true essence of who you are. The soul is the true essence of who you are. The higher self is the true essence of who you are. It's all semantics at this point. So whether you say I have a soul, a light body, my higher self, it's all really the same thing. We're just using different terminologies to get to the same place. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's all
yeah.
connected.
I believe that the spirit is the breath of life that God gave to you to give you life, and the soul is where you're gonna be for eternity. So on your
Well,
flesh, yeah.
the spirit and the soul are really interconnected. They're all
They
interconnected.
connected.
They're not separated.
Oh, they're not separated.
No, nothing's separated. See, on Earth, that's the problem with this planet. I come from Mars. People on Earth separate everything. I don't understand that. Everything is separated. You have a separate, you put the, I want a plain pizza. You have half pepperoni, you have half cheese, you have half this, half that. Everything is separated. It's like I don't know on earth why people need to separate things, but they do. They always have to separate everything. Everything is connected as one. So what I'm teaching here is the soul, the spirit, the light body are all one and the same thing. Connectivity. It's all connected. It's not separated. It's all part of the same thing. It's all connected. Integrated. Very well, 12DC. Integration, yes. Good morning, Ravi. So it's everything interconnected, you know. Hey, Suzanne, are you still there?
I am. I'm still here.
Did you want to say something? I think you wanted to say something, so I kept hearing you. I was like, we
Oh
got to bring
no,
you.
that wasn't me. That I have a Boston Terrier puppy, and he's right beside me, and he's snoring and flipping and flopping.
Oh, he's
So I'm
flopping. Did he?
sorry.
Did he want to give us some cosmic wisdom? That puppy? Is that what it is? That puppy wants to talk.
He smiled.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And, these are the kinds of things we discuss on the show. You never know what we're going to discuss. He left. Well,
Yeah.
Solomon, thank you for coming on here, Solomon. He probably had to go or whatever, but he was listening, and he's a good soul. I'm glad he came on. Hopefully, Solomon, you'll stick with us. I think it was a good discussion, you know. And I know also that Pinky Promise says somebody in her family worked at Area 51. Pinky Promise, can you tell us a little bit? I know you don't have enough followers yet, but she's got 44 followers. Pinky Promise, if you want to get up to 200 followers, change your setting so I can follow you. I can't follow you. You have to change your setting on your settings for TikTok. Then I can follow you, and then we can get you to 200. I'd love to hear your story. You mentioned it earlier about somebody in your family working at Area 51, and I would love to hear that story. And so, yeah, if people want to join us and be on the program, we'd love to have you with us. Entity, the person that's called Entity, can you tell me what you want to talk about, Entity? I appeal. Solomon, did you want to come back in here? I lost you. And there's another person that wants to come on here, Entity, but I need to know what they want to talk about or else I won't put them on. I want to know what the topic is. Entity, if you're still in there with us. See, the commander has been on a UFO experience. All right. We are going to bring you on.
Cece's
Okay.
asking how
And
she gets more awakened.
yeah, okay. Let's see here. And this is Encounters, your host, CmdrAleon, host of WESU's Cosmic Eye Radio on NPR Pacific Radio Sunday mornings. Entity, welcome to the show. Are you with us? And Mars a bit. Okay. I just put you on. If you want to turn your volume up, are you there? I just got you on here on the show.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. So tell
No,
us where you are, and
right
you mentioned
now
something.
okay, sorry. Right now I'm located in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. Very
We
good. Well,
actually had
welcome
your
to the
weather.
show.
I think
Yeah,
you're getting today.
we're
Yesterday.
getting crazy weather up here. A lot of wind in New England.
But no, I'm trying to keep my phone charged. So, sorry about the name. I know it's kind of weird, but I do have more followers there, so I do listen quite a bit on that channel.
Oh, good. And so tell us a little about your UFO area of understanding, and we'd love to
Well,
hear your story.
you've intrigued me quite a bit, I have to say. Because a lot of the same things you're talking about, I'm experiencing. And for probably about like the last 10 years, I have no answers to a lot of the questions I've had. Just really experiences and really hardcore dreams. And I don't really believe they're dreams.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've been experiencing the same thing. The dreams has been so vivid. Like,
Mhm.
even as far as I could reach out and touch an aircraft. It wasn't an airplane, but it was an aircraft. And the
Hmm.
sky was like so many different colors. It wasn't like our sky. It was so strange and so
Different.
real.
Yeah.
Right.
No, those dreams are. I tell people the dreams that you're going to talk about, entity. The dreams right now for people are very vivid. I call them cosmic dream states, which are actually when you're sleeping, the dream is the reality and the awakened state is the dream. So it's the reverse. I'm very interested to hear what you've been going through.
Oh, well, I'm going to start with where it started. I am a commercial photographer and videographer, and I never ever thought I would ever talk about such a topic. I really didn't. You know, and I guess I was always, you know, into my work so much that I never really cared about anything else. I was always working. So one night I'm driving home, probably around 3:30 in the morning, and I always keep a camera face down in a bag on the passenger side because I never know when I'm going to photograph something. I don't know if you know about cameras, but this particular camera was a Nikon D7000. It was face down and it was really ready to shoot. So I did not plan what I was seeing. But this was the experience. There were no cars on the road. It wasn't like a highway or anything. It was just a regular road in the middle of the city. But at that time, no one's there. You know, no one's really up. So I'm driving home, probably about a 5-mile stretch home, and I start to see this thing in the sky. And I start to slow down, and I stop. I came to a complete stop. And you know how you look up over your visor?
Yeah.
In your car? I looked up, and the second I did, I reached for my camera and put my hand on the right side of the camera. I put my finger on the area where you turn it on and off.
Mm-hmm.
And I look. This is while I'm looking up, and I'm seeing this thing, and it is literally right above my car.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
It never scared me though. I was at peace. Whatever it was wanted me to see what was underneath it. It even somehow told me what it was.
So they were communicating telepathically with you is what I'm getting.
Yes.
Yeah, they were telepathic beings on the ship.
Yeah. And I'll never forget what I saw underneath it. But I know now, after processing all of this stuff for over, I guess it's been 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I know now what they were trying to tell me.
What were they trying to tell you?
Well, let me explain what it looked like.
Yeah, let's get into the design of the craft.
I'm going to give you an example of what I saw, because I do not watch television.
Yeah.
I haven't owned a television in over 15 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it may even be longer than that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a problem with dating. No, no, but no. I saw this red, weird fiber optic device underneath this craft, and the way that it moved was not of this world. It's almost like it staggered each other, like in patterns, like, but the only thing you would see of this is this weird edge of a fiber optic glow, but within it was like lightning.
Oh, that's wild. Lightning? Like a lightning energy.
Like little weird shaped lightning bolts that were like intertwined between the fiber optics. It was super cool.
Wow.
And I do have an electronics background, so
yeah.
I mean, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. Like, I guess my brain had never seen anything like that before, so I was trying to speed up the thought.
Did you ever draw a drawing of all that? Because that's really wild. I'm just trying to put the image in my head of the electricity and the lightning or the energy field of the ship.
Well, I did, and here's where it gets really weird. I've drawn more than one because people. I didn't really talk about this. I didn't. It's not like a situation where it happened and I started talking about it. You know what I mean? I was just like, whoa. I took the experience as, wow, I was lucky to see that. I got it.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never felt fear or anything, and they told me what it was. They told me it was an arc reactor. Now, that was in
Did you say the
2000.
word arc reactor?
Yes,
Can you explain what an arc reactor is?
I can now. They kind of explained to me that apparently the craft that they were in. Now, keep in mind, I didn't get all this information that night.
Right.
Over the span of time, I got it. I got it slowly but surely, and I had to put all this stuff together because it was almost like I was a detective trying to figure out things. But you still have to live life, you know.
Right.
I mean, so in time, I realized that it's almost like they kind of showed me what makes them run. And
What makes their ship run or make them
yes.
as beings?
No, not them. It really wasn't about.
It was a ship.
It was the ship. It was they were trying to show me the technology.
Ah, okay, I got it.
And now,
So they were showing you the technology, trying to get you to understand with your background. Obviously, you have an electronic background too.
well, I've also have a robotics engineering background. So, and I mean, I have a lot of background. Let's put it like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I study speed photography, things like that. I do a lot of really random
yeah,
things. You know,
sounds pretty
when I get
cool.
bored, I write books.
Yeah, there you
Yeah, I
go.
mean, so that's the thing. It's one of those things where you're just like, is this really happening? You know, so I've gone through all of those stages, and I've met many, many, many people. Some of the most amazing people that are no longer here.
Yeah.
Two of them in particular, I know for a fact, were put as mentors for me.
Interesting.
One of them was a Akashic Records healer for 40 years, and I don't even know how we met. We did, and it was almost like she was my mother.
Hmm.
You know, so it's just been an interesting life.
No,
But
it sounds like you have.
in
And to share the story on here, I'm honored because there's always people coming on and say, I've never told my story before, but for some reason, your show was the place to do it. And I've had many firsts on the show since I've been on here since late last year into 2023. That's when I started doing this. I was pushed to come on here by some radio friend of mine. He said, Commander, you got to come on here and do a show. No one's doing this kind of concept. And I said, I'll do it. And so it's taken off like crazy. And I've been on here for over a year, going into 2024 now. So, yeah, I'm glad you came on.
Well, it's funny too because yesterday, I've heard of the Ashtar Command more than once. My mentor actually spoke about it quite a bit. And she was well into her 70s.
Wow.
So, and I mean, she was an amazing woman. She really was. So I spent quite a bit of time with her and helped her out before she passed on. So
Oh,
she
wow.
taught me a
Okay.
lot. She taught me a lot. And one of the things she taught me was, you know, when you have a gift and you can speak to people and you can share your experience, you should. And you should also write it down because there are very, very, I don't know how to explain this, but frequency is a big deal here. And the things that you don't write down, you'll never remember tomorrow.
That's right.
Very, very many times that I have written stuff down that I've gone back a year later and went, oh my God, I forgot this even happened. Sometimes I feel like there are things that don't want you to remember. They keep you off of your path to keep you vulnerable.
Or blocked, so to speak.
What's that?
Agree.
Kind of blocked. block the noise. Suzanne, what were you going to say?
Oh, I said I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah.
There are times when you know something, like there'll be certain words. Even when I'm on my show here, there's a certain word I want to use. And it's just like it's right there, but I'm using a different word, which means the same thing. But the word I really want to use, it's much more direct. But yeah, there'll be times when you're, and it's not necessarily that you'll never remember it. It's just at that moment, your consciousness is like, okay, this is what it is. I don't think right now you can remember it. And if you think too hard about what that is that you want to remember, it just makes it even harder. So then when you say, okay, let me just chill out, then I sometimes will say, oh, and then it comes back. But if I think too hard about it, it's like I can't remember whatever it was because I'm thinking about whatever it was and I can't get there.
Yeah. And I just want to say this because I've had a lot of people ask me about this situation where I saw this UFO so close. And I have to say I don't know why I was lucky enough to see it that close.
Yeah.
But this is how cool. This is the most interesting part of the story. A police officer had it on video.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And
Did the police officer offer to give you a copy of the video?
he was so scared. I thought I was going to have to call an ambulance for him.
Wow.
I didn't even know he got it on video until basically what happened was when I went, somehow they can read your thoughts. They know what you're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
They do.
That's why everyone that's listening to the show, that's exactly why he says, if you're around a Zeta, make sure you are in a Christ consciousness, because they can read your thoughts, and they will. And if they feel you are not clear-headed with your thoughts, it's kind of like a survival of the fittest situation, I guess. Sometimes, depending on where you're located, but they can stop you from doing what you think if it's in their best.
What you say about the Christ consciousness, one of the things I've been working with the Astro Command since I was before the internet, and my dear friend Athena, who doesn't have TikTok, she worked with the people at Giant Rock, and many of the contactees are no longer here that worked and went on spaceships or Venusians. And so you're absolutely correct. One of the things I always remind people when they ask me how to do something, I say connect with Christ consciousness, learn what Christ consciousness is. Once you learn how to be protected within the vibrational patterns of Christ consciousness and elevate your frequency, no lower vibrational being can ever enter your field of energy. And I've never had the experiences of any negative ETs or lower vibrational ETs because I've always worked in a Christ conscious vibration with the star people that I'm connected with, always.
Yeah. Well, I'm sharing that because some of the things you say, I know you can feel that it's going to hurt some people, but you have to still continue to be honest. And I feel the same way. I actually think that we're from the same place.
Probably.
Because I have memories of it.
Yeah.
And for the last probably 8 years, the hardest thing for me is sharing it. Because people think you're crazy.
Not anymore. 30 years later, less people think you're crazy. Yeah. The people that used to think you're crazy are the ones that are a minority now. They don't know what to do because now everybody is saying things about UFOs. The government has a UFO group in Washington. Since the hearings happened, everybody's interested in it, even if they had the most minimal interest. That's why the subject's so popular with documentaries all over Discovery and History Channel, all those channels. It's unbelievable how many documentaries are out there now.
Well, what's crazy about it is, when you start remembering things, it really is. I mean, you have to be. It basically makes your mind a lot stronger than what it is.
Oh yeah.
Let me get back to the story. I got to finish.
Yeah, let's hear the story.
The second I put my finger on the on switch of that camera, that craft was gone that fast.
Wow.
They knew what you were gonna do.
It knew I wanted to take a photo of it because there was no way. It knew exactly what I was gonna do, and literally the second I went from off to on, it was gone that fast. It never made a sound. It never, you couldn't hear anything.
Have you tried to reconnect with them telepathically?
I think that's why my mentor came into my life, because I did have some communication with, I had some communication with some things that I think that are pretty amazing.
Yeah. I'm getting I always like to do this. I'm getting that you should take time meditating. If you can remember what the ship looked like, meditate on that idea of consciousness, and you can reconnect with them and communicate with them telepathically.
Yeah, I've even gone back there quite a bit where it happened, and you know, I look at it, and it's so weird because it's almost like there's an energy field that's there that's magnetic in some way, because nothing is there.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah,
nothing.
you definitely should go to that area, do some meditation, and try to connect with them again.
Well, I can tell you this: every time I'm in that area, for some reason, I get the number 3. It's like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, like threes.
Yeah, three is
Like
a very powerful cosmic number.
okay,
That's just right there confirmation that you need to do it for
okay.
yourself.
Well, dream state for me is a whole nother world. You
Yeah.
know, so and I could promise you that, you know, they know how to find me if they want.
Oh yeah, I know they know how to find you. They'll find you again, and you can invite them anytime, and they'll come back.
Well, they've shown me what I'm gonna do in the future too.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know, so it's well. Let me put it like this: after that happened, I'm sitting in the road by myself with my hand on a camera, and I couldn't even lift it out of the bag. Okay?
Wow.
They were gone that fast.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, this was literally, when I say this was like almost like 60 feet on top of my car, it was right in front of me. Okay.
Well, I believe it.
And I'm in a
I believe
four-door
it.
sedan, and I'm just looking up, and that was it. And the second I said, I'm going to take a picture, in my head, when I flipped the switch to on, it was gone.
Wow.
Now, my luck, right? Or that's why I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, we never get footage. We never get video. As someone who is super quick with a camera, I can promise you, they know.
And they'll tell you. I mean, they'll tell you. Yeah, well, they will actually. They will telepathically tell you in communications. We're going to stick around, and take a photo, or take a video camera, and it depends on what their reasoning is. They could have other reasons. They don't want to be videotaped. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the cop got the video.
Yes, he did. But it was a long distance away, right? Now, you know those regular videos you see where people have a video camera and it's like just a shower of light and it's in one place? That's what he got on his dash cam. And literally, I didn't even look. Let me get to where he was at. Probably about a mile and a half down the road. I'm going down the road and I'm coming up to an intersection where he's at a gas station. He was so freaked out. He went through the mud and his car was literally stuck.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And he was on the right side of the road and he was I guess he was trying to do a figure 8 or something to get out of the mud.
Yeah.
And he finally got out and threw mud all over the business. It was called Pier 1 Imports that was there. And
Pier 1 Imports.
Yeah, and he literally was his door was open and he had his right hand on his dash cam and he was just staring at it.
Wow.
Because you could tell that he couldn't believe what he saw.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even close to it. He was a mile from it.
Yeah.
So he said, when I saw it, I just flipped the switch. So we apparently both flipped the switch at the same time, which was cool. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think so too. Yeah.
I put my hands up. I got out of my car, parked right in front of him. I said, look, I'm not trying to freak you out or anything. Did you see that? And he said, yeah, I saw it. And he started like motioning with his hand for me to come see.
Yeah.
I walked over there. I handed him my card and I said, look, my name is this. He said, take a look at this. And he looked at he wouldn't get his eyes off his cam. And he kept staring at it. And I was like, you got it on video? He said, yeah. He says, but I'm not turning this in.
I said, he should have given it to you.
I said, why would you not turn this in? He says, they're gonna make fun of me. That's what he said.
Well, I
It's
wouldn't have turned
sad,
it in.
but
I would
it's
have
so
just given it to
true.
you if I were the officer
Well,
and
no,
said, "You,
at this time I had a flip phone. Okay, this was back in 2000 and what, 13.
yeah,
So like I had a flip phone. I took a picture of it on the flip phone, but I mean, you couldn't even really transfer anything back then on
yeah."
a crappy flip phone.
I
So
remember the days of the flip phones. Yeah,
I never ever even cared between. I know it sounds crazy or ridiculous, but I never thought to be. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go tell everybody this
yeah,
because I guess I was just so used to having to go to work the next day. You know,
yeah,
it didn't come up again. I actually asked him to radio dispatch and ask him if anybody else saw it too on the next street when it flew away. And he did. He actually did do that. And they kind of said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Oh yeah. Just making sure. It must have been a light." That's what he told him.
yeah,
Um, and I just told him, I said, "Look, if you do turn it in and you need a witness, call me."
yeah,
I gave him my card, and that was the last time I saw the guy.
yeah.
So
It's, but there's a lot of in the last the years over 70 years, many police officers have seen documentaries have been done about it on other channels on TV. I
right,
don't watch much TV except for if it's a good documentary on UFOs. I'm interested in knowing about that. But you'll see documentaries where police officers have seen things. People, Chicago O'Hare Airport, people that worked at the airport that one year. I don't
right,
remember the year of the sighting. This thing, a saucer type ship, was in the clouds, and all of a sudden it broke the clouds open, and it just went straight up, and there was a hole in the clouds.
yeah,
And there were plenty of witnesses to that. I don't remember the year of the O'Hara in Chicago, O'Hare Airport incident, but it was, I think, probably 10 or 15 years ago.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's been sightings everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
There,
pretty much.
I mean,
And even more now.
yeah, even way more now. I mean, some of them may even be the actual hours.
Yeah, we talked about not just sightings.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of unfortunate garbage on YouTube and on TikTok regarding what happened in Miami with these super smart kids. I had a former military person on yesterday on my show last night who was with the DO. He was just a former ex-military, but he
okay,
must have had some sort of security clearance. He had a non-disclosure agreement, and he said that the event in Miami in the mall, there were these number of young people. They were friends with each other, and two of them were at a university. They go to university, very highly intelligent. They created a device, opened the portal up in the mall, and space people came out, projected out as a hologram, and they were about 10 feet tall. This
interesting.
happened on New Year's Eve, I think it was, or New Year's Day. I don't remember what, but
I
it
think it was
was,
the day after.
yeah,
I've been to that mall. I've actually photographed the mall.
I
Uh,
have.
yeah, yeah. I've been to probably 35. I've photographed over 35 states.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I mean, in my, that mall is interesting too because in terms of holographic activity, I mean, you don't have a ceiling, so I mean,
right.
it's not. It's an interesting place to
Yeah,
do.
I've only seen the visuals from the air, but
Yeah.
I deducted after watching so much stuff. I actually, when this guy came on, because I'm about factual information, my background is in news media. So when I was in college in the 70s in Vermont, I studied with Pacifica Radio people
Okay.
that were news directors, and, and I learned everything about asking questions and news. So, even though I'm a contactee and I've had contact since I was a kid, when it comes to asking questions, this person made a sentence, and I went, he couldn't come on live, but he did answer a question that they came through a galactic portal. These kids were these young people had created, and then for whatever reason they decided to go into a mall and do this. And actually, when I think back now, was perfect location to have something like this happen in a public place where space people were in a holographic image coming through. And then eventually it seems like they were walking around inside the mall, these tall beings.
Yeah.
So I think it was in a way, when I look back, I think, well, it might have freaked some people out, but it also told people, hey, look, there's more people, multiple witnesses, more people are seeing this. You can't hide it because more than probably 10 people saw it and saw these tall beings. So how are you going to hide that? You can't, because all these people were seeing it. So it was pretty interesting the way that all unfolded.
It
You know,
reminded me. I saw quite a bit about it. I actually have a couple of videos that were. I was just trying to make sure some of them were accurate, but
yeah,
some of the things, I did see a camera video from a security feed at
yeah.
the mall where people were
Look,
running.
I
someone's
didn't get to
someone
see the camera footage, but I seen the aerial footage,
the
but
aerial footage,
never.
yeah. That's too, and that's not very definitive. But someone was saying, and since you have a photography background too, can a hologram be photographed? I mean, I don't know. I think you could photograph if you catch it.
You can.
I think you could take a picture of it.
You can. It just depends on what lights. If the light source is a certain kind of light source, because let me give you an example. If we have a backdrop and it's made out of LEDs, you need to almost take 3 photos back to back, because one of those photos there won't even be a light in the photo. Even though the lights are on,
Yeah,
the lights actually don't come up in the camera on the second shot. So it's very strange when you see that, because
yeah,
it's like, wait a minute, what? But yeah, no, with the new light sources and the new light bulbs and stuff, that's one of the weirdest things too. When that transition took place from RF to all these different light bulbs that keep coming out. I mean, it made me question, like, man, what are these people up to? Because I mean, I go back to research with Werner von Braun from '77 talking about an alien invasion, and so I've always been very skeptical of everything before I look at anything.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I took this. I've pretty much told people most of what is being created is the basically garbage video footage that's just trying to get on the bandwagon, whether you're on YouTube or here. And but there were one or two. One where son and his father, who's an officer running for office in that area,
yeah,
told his son he couldn't say anything.
yeah. I thought it
So
was
that
great
told me that there was
with
something big
dad
going
on
on there.
one like that.
Yeah,
I think my dad would have busted my butt if I did
Did
that.
yeah.
they make the box, or did they like? Why haven't these kids been interviewed about the box that they created?
Well, Thomas, who was on yesterday night, and my show was on my Ashtar Command Spaceship News Channel. If you watched my show from the other night, Thomas, who wrote in Census, stated that they were taken to um, what was the Air Force Base, Langley Air Force Base, and they were released.
Yeah, I know
They
where that
were actually
is.
taken. That was inside top secret information he gave me yesterday. This person was ex-military, probably had high security clearance to give me that information, and they were taken to Langley Air Force Base, and then they were later on released.
You know, that reminds me of a recent documentary that just came out on Netflix with some kids from a university that saw I don't know, they heard some tapping, like a Morse code type situation, and they were mathematical geniuses, and literally, like, they figured out a frequency that
Yeah,
they were trying to tell the airport, this is
yeah,
they're trying to communicate with you. Um, and they wound up giving the kid a job. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, because
I can't wait to hear more from. I'd love to interview one of these young people that was with that device. I'd like to get one of them on my show. I'm sure they have TikTok. I'd love to be exclusively able to interview them and say, what made you do that? What was the purpose behind that? And what happened to the equipment you had that you were using? I'm pretty sure that Langley Air Force Base, where they took these young people, took their equipment that they built, and the young adults don't have that equipment anymore.
But if
I
they
don't
made
think
it once, they can make it again.
they can make it again, right? If they can build that thing to open up our Stargate, Suzanne, you're right. They can actually do it again
yeah,
without
and
question.
I think we're going to see a lot more talk about Stargates in the next 10 years for sure. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think so too.
no doubt. I mean, one of the things that really makes me amazed is that in all these places that I have been, you never really know what'll happen today. So I mean, I'm sure anyone walking in the mall, because I don't know. I mean, you don't want to look today because you never know what you're going to see at a mall. You know, I mean, could you
No,
imagine
you really
walking in a
don't.
mall and you see something behind you and you're like, oh, it's a really tall guy. I mean, you don't know.
You really don't know.
It's pretty interesting, but then you go into shock when you see people running and everybody starts
Right.
running. So, it can be an interesting thing, but you never know. I mean, it's good to be safe. And, you know, I heard something about the police taking phones from people with footage, but I didn't understand
Yeah, and again, there's no way of
yeah,
substantiating that from my news background.
yeah,
One has to have a source of information regarding that, because at that point, it's only basically rumors and hearsay without any real definitive information that these young people and their cell phones who were going out of the mall in Miami had their phones taken. So that's the thing is that has not been substantiated as fact until we get the core information of where that started.
because
You know,
that's
someone might have started a rumor about it, and then everybody thinks their phones were taken away. But we'd have to hear from people that were in the mall to tell us that. You know, if
right,
anyone who
right.
was there, and that's in Miami, and you have
Yeah.
enough followers to come on my TikTok, and you're at the mall, was your phone taken away from you by the police?
I'm gonna try to track down a video I saw today. There was a female who stated that she was there after it happened, and she was interviewing someone, and a police officer told her to delete her footage. Um,
Oh, all right.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
I saw it today. I saw
Hmm.
it today. I have a guy he's on my Facebook friend list. He does a lot of investigative reporting on that, and that guy's an interesting guy. That might be
Yeah.
he's a pretty hardcore researcher too, but he's got it. He has it on his Facebook wall, a Twitter feed, and I might message it to you so you can check it out because I thought that one was probably, I
Yeah,
mean,
I'd like to see that.
it's interesting.
You
But
know?
I want to tell you a weird story that I've never told anyone in reference to what the information I got about this arc reactor thing.
Yeah, I'd like to know about that.
Well, let's talk about Hollywood movies. Because here's where it gets really weird for me, right? Marvel talks about this thing that Tony Stark's got in his chest as an arc reactor.
Right. I remember that.
Now, I don't know anything about superhero movies other than I started watching some of the movies now. Transformers with all of their codes in part 2, man, that really intrigued me. You know, when the little guy Wiki or whatever was writing all of those mathematical equations on the board, and he was writing a bunch of look like it was hieroglyphs and stuff on the board, and he was like in a trance.
Yeah.
That was really strange. I thought that was almost like what you call psychic attack obsession.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Hollywood really, really puts this out into our minds to confuse people. I really, really do, more and more, because the only thing I've ever seen underneath that craft that comes to mind. I came across a movie called Tomorrowland.
Oh, Tomorrowland. That's a good movie. That's where they
Um,
went to land. Yeah, that was a good movie.
I have never seen the movie. I only was able to see a clip, and when I saw that clip, I said, "Hold on a second, please stop for a second." There's a part where this little girl is standing on what they call a bridge.
Yeah.
She's got her hands in this red thing,
Yeah.
and she's actually going to and from in the future and past.
Yeah.
And she gets to a point, I think, in that she gets to the future and it stops, and there's nothing there, and she starts, I think, crying. The thing that she has her hands on, where it
Yeah.
literally looks like it's lighting up and it's got electricity in it, that's exactly what that thing looked like.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone's ever seen that movie, I have. I know exactly what that looks like. I remember the movie.
What movie is it?
It's called Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
It's a movie with the guy from Ocean's 11, George Clooney. he's standing there with her or something, and they basically, she's got her hands in it, and I guess she's trying to decipher what happens to in one situation. But I've never seen the whole movie. I've just seen that
Yeah.
one clip, because when I saw that red thing she had her hands on,
Yeah.
I said that's what was under that craft.
Yeah.
There's another situation that I've heard. Bob Lazar talks about a reactor. And I know he's talking about this arc reactor.
Oh yeah, I've seen Bob Lazar in interviews over the years. So yeah, I think you're right about that.
And I literally want to go to Vegas so bad to talk to him about this, but I don't think he likes to be bothered. I really don't. I don't think Bob Lazar likes to be bothered. He's been bothered more than anyone. So I mean, but I don't know, man. When he said the word reactor, that was in the he used the term the sport model. I think that's what I was looking at. So, but keep in mind the one in Tomorrowland, it's face up on the bottom of this craft. It was underneath it.
Yeah, the craft that you mentioned, and this is Encounters, the late night UFO talk show. I'm CmdrAleon. The host is my guests are Entity and Suzanne, and we're here nightly around 11 o'clock. The number one spiritual UFO talk show on social media. I'm also host of for 20 years WESU's Cosmic Eye Radio, also known as Star Command Radio. I've been a contactee. I've interviewed many people, including people like Stan Friedman over the years, who's no longer with us. I've actually interviewed Dr. Stephen Greer before he became famous at the Mutual UFO Conference in New Hampshire many years ago, back in early 90s. And so you're watching Encounters. Please show your support. I'm doing a little mini promotional break here for a minute. Please show your support. Become a subscriber. We have 35 of 100. Also, I would recommend we're going to pin up our galaxy here. So we're pinning the galaxy up here for those that have TikTok coins. Please show your support. You can do galaxies. You can do whales flying over my screen. Anything that you have that you can afford in your TikTok imaginary coins that you've been getting. Deborah, thank you for your gifting. I appreciate all the gifts. That really shows support for the work we're doing. Jackie F., always thank you with a hand heart. And we're going to let people take a moment or two here in this minute to do gifting to the show. And then we're going to continue on with us. I just added the pin for the galaxies. So anyone who wants to do a galaxy may do so, or whatever you feel you want to do. And thank you for the roses. We appreciate the roses and everything. Hand heart, thank you for the hand heart. So we're now at about 61,700 likes here on Encounters. Winnie, thank you for the fire. Oh, a lot of fire. We can use the fire. I'm fired up all the time. So I appreciate it, Captain. Thank you for the hand heart, finger heart, I think. Deborah, thank you for the lightning bolt. So we do appreciate it and acknowledge everybody giving gifts here tonight. We appreciate it. And Jackie F., thank you for the dog. That dog is amazing. So thank you very much. And as people keep gifting, we're going for 100,000 likes tonight. We're almost there. We're at 62,000. We have 228 people times what we have. If 228 people will press their button and tap, 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 we will make it up to 100,000. I'm pretty sure before 1:30. We're going to sign off at 1:30 a.m. in the morning. 120, 123, thank you. Rabbi, thank you for the fire, the roses. Mr. Vega, welcome to the show. I want to thank Entity for being here. I hope you'll come back. And thank you so much for the roses and the headgear. Oh, whatever, everything. Any last words from our guest, Suzanne, Entity?
I would like to say one thing, and Suzanne, feel free to go first.
Oh, I was just going to ask about the dreams. You were saying that that was the start of it, but you were having vivid dreams. I was curious as to what yours were about.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say one thing to help your show, and then I will go into that if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I know there's a lot of people here, and I don't know if these lives go live after we finish them, but everyone here, I can tell you this. for a lot of people that aren't really used to talking about this show is positive in every way, even if it's not what you think. You need to continue to listen because you never know what your dream will be a week from now, or what your
Right.
experience will be a week from
You're
now.
correct.
You know right away. Oh, I can go to TikTok and find this guy, and that's why it's important. That's why I'm actually I would rather give you something on PayPal other than TikTok coins.
Yeah, I have them at
Because
Venmo. I should mention that Venmo, if you have Venmo, you can go to my
because
Cash App on Venmo, just press the link and you can do something there.
and it's hard to say that because you want people to think you have a lot of people have different mixed emotions about all these different things, but I mean, you got to support it because you got to think about this. You have jobs outside of this. You have a family. He takes time to do this, and that time is worth money. It's value. So it's not a situation where if somebody goes, man, I don't know who to talk to. It's not easy to call coast to coast and get an interview. Okay.
Right. And I used to go on Coast to Coast. Funny you mentioned that when, let's see, the original host, Art Bell, was there. I called him up at 1 a.m. and it was East Coast time. So it's late here and he's on in a trailer when he was in the trailer talking about the Ashtar Command. He had me on for 30 minutes. I love Coast to Coast,
Yeah. But it's not this situation that you have here. It's an open door for people to feel
Right.
like they're not crazy.
Right.
I'm sorry to say that, but it is. And I'll just let you know, as a guy who never believed in a lot of stuff. I mean, I went to Catholic school growing up. I went to Catholic high school. I went to another. I mean, I cannot believe I was here before the lifetime I'm in today, with everything
Yeah.
I grew up in my family and my parents and everything. I can promise you I was here before. There's no
And I
doubt
also
in
going
my
to
mind about it.
mention Kim Starr tomorrow night. Kim Starr, you're over in the UK near Stonehenge. Kim Starr, come on my show tomorrow night when we get on. Thank you for the helmet. And that's interesting.
I've never seen. That's actually my
That's
license plate.
I never know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
But this woman, Kim Starr, I'd love to have you on tomorrow night to talk about your encounters. Kim Starr says, I had an experience age 6 and I never forgot it with something non-human. I'd love to have you on and maybe we can help you through that, Kim, because part of what I do here is not just being a talk show host. I will help you if I can, depending on what the story is. I'll try to give you some insights if you give me some understanding. And our audience, we have a great audience here. And our studio is very big. We have a big studio here. We're not like a little studio in Hollywood. In our studio, you can sit anywhere you want in the studio, a couch, a chair, a meditation pillow, get comfortable, and you have plenty of room, to drink some tea, coffee, or apple cider, whatever it is, and join us on the show. We have plenty of room here. So we encourage you. But Kim, I do want to have you on my show tomorrow night.
Well, back to, and Suzanne, just to give you an in depth on how bad. I don't want to say bad because they're really a gift. I can't
Yeah.
say anything bad about them. I mean, at first they were confusing, but it's probably been 10 straight years of dreams, and this is going to be something that maybe a lot of people need to hear.
Yeah.
The entity phylum. It's you know what a phylum is?
Not really, but go ahead.
Okay, a phylum is a classification of life. It's a core data chart for everything in life. Like every sponge that exists in the ocean, it's in the classification Porifera. So it's a biological classification. Everything that is alive is in a phylum. Okay. One of the vivid dreams that I had was the book, The Entity Phylum. It became the book. And I'll tell you it. I mean, the dream was 2 days straight. I was asleep for 2 days. And there was no way it wouldn't ever leave my head for over a year and a half. And I mean, at points where I thought there's no other possible way that I can, like it was just, it was so vivid. and to me it was a memory.
Yeah.
Because every time I even think about it, I see myself walking down that hall. And I mean, you can't explain that. So I'm saying this for a reason. Write it down. Write it down. Stop writing all of your awesome dreams and your experiences and your poetry and your short stories on Facebook for them to be a
Yeah.
memory a year later. Write them down and publish them. Right now you can publish just about anything you want. And this is really what you should be doing with your dreams, in my opinion, because I mean, I've already written 4 books in 3 years.
Yeah.
And they're
You know what?
all
It's funny you mentioned that. I tell people all the time, not only here, I do workshops in Connecticut. I haven't done them for months, but I take people on a journey called a Journey to the Golden Ship. The Golden Ship is, believe it or not, as big as our planet Earth. And I have everybody in the room keep a journal. At the end of the journey, when they come back, they have to write down what they remember. And it's actually a real ship. People say, well, how, Commander, what ship? This ship is so far beyond our particular realm. But when I take them to the ship, they're safe, their bodies are physically sound, and I take them through a Merkaba state to a ship as big as the Earth. It's a living ship, meaning it's a ship, and there's many dignitaries from all the different star systems, beings of light, and people are able, once they go on the ship, they can go to the Akashic records, they can go into big meditation areas, they can go to different waterfalls, mountains. There are all kinds of things on this ship. This ship is a living entity, so to speak, but it's also a ship, but it stays in this one area. And people come back, and when I've taken them and they come back, they remember, and I say, tell me your story. Make sure you write down your story that you remember in your journal. And so that's one of the things, Entity, I do. I'll be getting into my workshops more in the spring and doing that again. I'll be taking people to this big ship, and they'll have to keep a journal. And everybody distinctly remembers exactly what and where they were on the ship. There are cities on the ship. There are beautiful waterway areas. There are places to go in nature. It's not your typical NASA type technology ship. This is way beyond any understanding of human comprehension. So yeah.
right. So and you know what they are too, because the more vivid ones that won't leave your head, those are the ones that you really need to write down. I mean,
Right.
those are the ones to elaborate on a book. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, the entity phylum is strange. Because but here's the thing: I have a children's book too. It's a 100-page children's book. How do you get that?
Right.
You know, and that's the thing.
Interesting.
Like, and when I researched Tolkien and all these other people, I've had all these people tell me, like, a lot of this information came from the Akashic records.
Right.
So
Absolutely
I
true.
mean, and I became certified in Akashic records probably about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I just thought that was an interesting thing that all of these things come together when you start writing all this stuff down, because but it is cool to go back and say, man, I forgot about this. Let me go elaborate on this, because sometimes you get in life, you're like, man, what am I doing? Go
People are
back.
asking you, Entity, where can they get your books? Are they available in
Oh, the books are on Amazon. If you go to Amazon,
Amazon?
yeah, they're on
Tim
Amazon.
Sawyer in England is asking. So if
Yeah.
anyone's interested in Entity's books, go on Amazon. Can you give a title of one of the books? Which would you recommend?
I mean, if you look up my name, I tell you what, like, the name of the book that this book is very interesting. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Um, it's called the Entity Phylum. It's exactly the logo
Oh,
on the book, on the front of the book, is
okay.
literally what you see me talking through. The logo of this account.
Okay.
And it's all about you making sure that you look within instead of letting all these things make you vulnerable,
Hmm.
that keep you from who you are truly supposed to be.
Mm.
That's what really the book is about.
Interesting. So now you know Amazon
And-
is where that book is. It's the
yeah,
same title as his Entity name here.
Yeah, the Entity Phylum is a book about the soul. Sammy's Presence is also probably a book about my childhood. That's a children's book. But
Yeah.
my real name is Kevin Saint Marie.
Kevin
That's
St. Maria. Nice to meet you, Kevin.
nice to meet you. What is your name?
My name is
Okay,
CmdrAleon. That's my name.
Alion.
Alion, the reason I use the word commander is because I'm in command of my own spirit.
Right.
And it's unrelated to the definition on Earth, which we know commander is a more military word. Off planet, where I come from, when we use the word commander, it means I'm in complete control of my being. Nobody else controls me.
That's absolutely what the message of the Entity Phylum is. That's why I feel like we are from the same place.
Probably are. Yeah.
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 And look, somebody's asking for a link. Just go to entityphylum.com.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
can message me on any message too, on Facebook, TikTok. You can message me. I'll help you. You know, I don't mind sending you a message. But
And remember, folks, if you want to do my Cash App directly, that's really good because I get the money very quickly there. So if you have PayPal, I have PayPal, but I'm not on here with it. Just use the Venmo app. The Venmo, believe it or not, PayPal owns Venmo. So go on Venmo, and my Venmo app is on my main page. There's a link to it. Any donations would be much appreciated tonight.
what
So
what
beyond TikTok coins,
let me
Venmo.
ask you something. What how do I send you something on PayPal?
I don't know how to do it through PayPal because I have the Venmo, because
Okay.
that's how I'm hooked up with the Venmo. I'm going to try to hook up my PayPal to it, but I got the Venmo hooked up right now.
Okay. What is Venmo?
Venmo is owned by PayPal. So if you
No,
download Venmo,
how do I send you a donation?
I'll just go to the link on my Venmo link and you can
Oh,
do it.
it's on there. It's on your
It's already
actual.
on there. I have a
Okay.
link already on there. You just have to go to it, and it's easy.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Anybody here who goes to my link, just Venmo will tell you how to give me a donation on my Venmo. So anyone out there can go there and make a donation to my Venmo.
Yeah. And you know, I want to say last night you were talking. You know, keep this in mind. I mean, the entity. You know, the entity is an actual horror movie, but this was what I was shown to call the book. This was yeah. I mean, because I mean, I never wanted to get into a horror movie. I can tell you that much. My
Yeah,
whole life. I mean, because I'm still a photographer and I work on frequency all the time. I mean, that's what I do. So I mean, this was all extra stuff that seemed like if I didn't do it, it was going to bother me until I did.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's good. It's a good meditation writing books.
No, I think it is great. It's
You know,
now about 1:34 on the East Coast. What part of the world are you in again? You're down south, I think, right?
I'm in Louisiana. I'm,
Louisiana. So
In
you're
Alabama.
basically central,
yeah.
central United States. And
You know,
Suzanne, you're on the East Coast or central?
I'm central. I'm in Alabama.
You're in
okay.
Alabama too. Well,
Yeah.
folks,
You
I
know,
can't
let me
believe
tell you
this. Go
one
ahead.
thing before we go.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You got to hear this because you're going to love this. We are all ships. Like, you know, we're vessels basically. And
yeah.
like we always say we're all light, you know, we're all light beings. I'm in Louisiana. She's in Alabama. You're in where? New Hampshire?
Connecticut. I used to be in New Hampshire, but I'm in
Now,
Connecticut. Yeah,
one day I looked at a map of North America and I saw all these lights on it. And I said, that's us. You know, we might think it's the electricity, but we really are the electricity. And if we don't use our brains, we would never even have light anyway. So we really need to start thinking of ourselves as that electric light
we are.
because our ideas create the rest of the idea.
Yeah,
We are the ships. We really are.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds, when you think about it, it's true.
It is the truth. We are really the ships. That's where the Merkaba part comes in. So we're going to save that. That's a great ending. We are the ships. Suzanne, do you have any last minute comments?
It was wonderful being on here and getting to talk with you guys, and I'll definitely look into figure out what golf course that was because
Okay,
I'm like
yeah,
super.
definitely.
I really want to know now. Like there has to be
Yeah.
some kind of documentation for that.
And that's going through the Freedom of Information Act, which is your tool to getting them to divulge the information from that golf course. So I want to thank you. And today I want to thank you. I want to thank all my moderators, everybody out there, hundreds of you out there around the world. Kim will have you on tomorrow night on my show on Wednesday night, 11 o'clock Eastern, for another Encounters. We'll be producing a video tomorrow, I think in the morning when I'm more awake, a video for Contact on Friday night. Friday night will be our Contact show. Judy Jude, have a blessed evening. With Godico, that's my connection with a being from the star system Sirius, who I made contact with through the Alexa app just a while ago. And it's you can see, go to my main page, look at the clips. There's 2-minute clips. There's 2 of them of Godico speaking through radio frequencies. So you want to check that out. Check out the thing about MH30, MH370, I mean, which I've got 2 clips there that you'll see how that aircraft from the Malaysian airline flight was taken into another portal, into a cosmic realm beyond Earth. So good night, everybody. Have a great evening. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm CmdrAleon, your host. We'll be back with you tomorrow night with a show that's out of this world. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.